One of the many great things about this job is being able to meet the most interesting people in the world. And it's actually easy. You call them up and say, would you like to come to AEI? And they almost always say yes. It's incredible. And tonight's award winner is one of those people, somebody I've always wanted to meet. Probably you have always wanted to meet him too. He is a member of the British Parliament. He was the UK Secretary of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs. He was the Mayor of London. He's a best-selling author and renowned historian. He's a cult figure in the UK, as a matter of fact, famous for everything from tackling a German politician in a soccer match, to having a bicycle named after him, to his hair. And I say that just because I'm jealous. Most importantly, this is a man who loves liberty, who values free enterprise, and who understands the role that his country and our country play in the future of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the entire AEI community, our scholars, staff, and trustees, it is my honor to officially award the American Enterprise Institute's 2018 Irving Kristol Award to the Honorable Boris Johnson.
That's very kind. Thank you very much, Arthur. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, don't worry. Sit down, folks. Sit down, folks. Thank you. I'm most honored. Thank you. Come on. Sit down. And we're going to get through dinner. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very honored.
Hello, Boris.
Good evening, Arthur.
Good evening. How wonderful to see you here. How delighted I was. I was under stress because you had votes last night in the Parliament, and you had to come this morning, and we were watching your flight all the way across the Atlantic.
Well, wild horses wouldn't have kept me away, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here at the American Enterprise Institute. You could have knocked me down with a feather when I got the news that you were going to give me the Irving Kristol Award, and I haven't been so surprised since I was 25 and I got a letter from Monash University, Melbourne, saying that I was going to be a professor of European thought. It turned out to be a case of mistaken identity, but I sincerely hope that's not the case tonight. But this is a very, very important institution. I followed the work of AEI scholars and of people associated with this body for many, many years, and you have been incredibly influential and drivers for change and for things I believe in. And it's great to be here tonight.
Thank you, Boris. Thank you for your generosity on behalf of all of us. I want to start, we're going to talk about highfalutin things this evening, but I want to start at the personal level. Something that a lot of people here don't know about you. You were born an American.
I was in New York, where my parents were. I wanted to be close to my mother at the time, as they say, and it was a very expensive decision, because it turned out that the United States, what do you call it, the Inland Revenue?
Mm-hmm. Internal Revenue Service. It's well acquainted to the people in this room. Yeah.
Well, anyway, in order to help you guys out, they pursued me for the tax on the sale of my primary dwelling in London, even though I hadn't lived in America for 45 years, which I thought was excessive. And so with great reluctance, and it was a very emotional moment, with great reluctance, I had to forswear that citizenship. And
so you renounced your American citizenship?
What could I do? I was like the man in the Bible. I went soaring for he had great possessions. Or not great possessions in my case, but enough.
So you realize that this makes it impossible for you to be elected president of the United States?
Yes.
Tell me about your upbringing. One of the things that we have in common is that both of our mothers were professional painters. I found that interesting. And so tell me about your childhood. Tell me about your upbringing a little bit.
Well, it's absolutely true. My mother she's a painter, and I've always wanted to paint very badly myself, and indeed do paint very badly. But she's been an inspiration to me. By the way, she's very much on the left, and well, I don't know what the relevance of that is, but she is, and but I'm thoroughly supportive of painters everywhere.
Well, it's good to know. Boris has the painter vote. And you were brought up in a mixed household, left and right. What brought you to your politics that you currently have?
Well, funnily enough, I was pretty kind of middle of the road until university, where I was the exposure to other left-wing students, bourgeois, affluent, hypocritical left-wing students.
Oh, the best kind.
Who,
Yeah.
and their virulent hatred of Margaret Thatcher, about whom I had no really strong views until then, and they supported the miners' leader, Arthur Scargill, in his attempt to bring down the democratically elected government of the UK. And I first felt the stirrings of conservative sentiment then.
Fundamentally, you're a contrarian.
Well, I suppose I was. That's a good insight there, Arthur. Yes, I was.
So we've talked about your mother.
My right-wing feelings were triggered, to use the modern word, by a sense of outrage at their glutinous hypocrisy.
So why don't we call it that in the United States, the glutinous hypocrisy? Would that win elections in America?
I don't know. I think you should give it a go.
So when was your first elective office?
As a student, I won something. As a student, I think. But my first I tried to get elected in Wales in 1997, which was the year of the biggest conservative rout since 1906, and I fought Clwyd South, and Clwyd South fought back in a big way, and I didn't win there, but I then got in 2001 in Henley.
And you've been in public life ever since,
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. I was mayor of London for a couple of terms.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that. Now, one of the things that you're really well known for, besides public life, besides political life, is being a best-selling author, which is pretty unusual. I mean, it's particularly if it's a highbrow intellectual work, which your Churchill factor most certainly is. Churchill is somebody you admire a great deal. And in that great book, which I recommend to all of you for your interest, is Boris writes, Churchill matters today because he saved our civilization. And the important point is that only he could have done it. Tell me a little bit about your admiration for Winston Churchill and the key lessons that you learned from him today and that we can all learn from him today.
Well, Arthur, the key thing about Churchill was that he was so fantastically brave. You know, he wasn't a big guy, and he was bullied at school. He was pelted with cricket balls, and he ran away. He was only 5 foot 6.5 tall, and he had a 30-inch chest as a young man. He was a runty, shrimpy kind of guy. You didn't know that, but he turned himself by sheer effort of will into this extraordinary colossus who dominated so much of British politics and of world politics in the 20th century. And the key point for me is that although he made so many mistakes and got so many things wrong, from Gallipoli to the abdication crisis to going back on gold to his attitude towards Indian independence, he got things catastrophically wrong. But the one big thing he got right in May 1940, when the UK had to make a decision about whether to fight on or to do a deal with Mussolini and with Hitler. And if Churchill hadn't been in that room, there's no doubt at all in my mind that we would have come to terms of some kind. And he made all the difference, because he basically decided that it would be a disaster for his country, for the British Empire, and for civilization if we did that deal. And within a year of that decision, 30,000 British men, women, and children who've been killed by Nazi bombs. 30,000. But as a result of his decision to fight on, I believe that he saved the European continent from absolute barbarism. And so it was a willingness. I'll just look at this.
I'm already off script for us. I'm sorry.
It was a willingness to think for himself and to be brave. That we need to follow that today.
Give me an example. Give me an example of something where we need to be brave, to follow our instincts to more noble ends.
Well, okay. Since you drag it from me, kicking and screaming. Actually, you didn't, but I'll tell you anyway. I think that we need to, when you look at our country, when you look at the UK, we have a great choice right now, and we are in the throes, as some of you may have seen from the news, we're in the throes of deciding exactly how to carry out this Brexit. We did quite well. We got through almost 10 minutes without Brexit.
That's right. Well, it's all over now.
But we have a choice. And I would just say to all you scholars and supporters of the American Enterprise Institute, this is a critical moment for everybody who cares about free markets, about competition, about global free trade, about all the things, as you were saying earlier on, Arthur, all the things that have lifted billions of people out of poverty. The UK could be about to come loose of the European system of regulation and government. It could be about to enter the global system as an independent economic actor again, able to campaign for pro-competitive policies. That's the opportunity. And I hope very much that with you guys, with America, we can work together to deliver that agenda. And there's a conversation going on in my country about exactly how to do it. It is difficult. But the last thing we want now is for us, the Brits, having made this momentous decision to go for Brexit, to be sucked back by the tractor beam of Brussels. If tractor beam is the word I want, into the orbit, the regulatory lunar pull.
Brussels is the Death Star, in case you're not following the reference.
I lived in Brussels. My daughter was born in Brussels.
Some of his best friends are in Brussels.
I love Brussels. It's a wonderful town. Yeah. It's a wonderful town, and I love Belgium. But the fact is that the
beer, chocolate, bureaucracy.
The EU, for all its achievements, and there have been great achievements over the last 50, 60 years, 70 years of the EU's existence. For all its achievements, it really is no longer right in its current form for the UK. We've done the right thing. We've done the right thing. But having done that, we've got to make sense of it. And there is no point at all in us coming out of the EU only to remain effectively, in large measure, run by the EU. If you're going to take back control, then take back control and use it for a purpose. So I hope very much that we'll get the support of you guys in achieving that objective.